So let's create a new file here. The new file name could be anything. Let me create, or the file is already there index.html, or either I can simply insert the data inside this file. So let me put the data inside the index.html. Okay. So let's suppose I'm gonna paste this just, and that particular text has been pasted what I have copied from the Geeks4Geeks website, right? And I have copied this particular text using the some sort of JavaScript functions behind the scene they have already used. So we have to create the same type of program. Okay, now whatever users we're gonna insert inside a field, or either user wants to copy some field on top of your website, just you have to create that type of button. And to create that type of button, so just I'm going to create a very basic template of the HTML first of all. Okay, once you will create the basic template, okay, we will move forward to the next. So first of all, I'm going to enter the boilerplate of the HTML. Okay, let's create the boilerplate, copy text. Okay, now let's suppose I'm going to write the few basic paragraph as well here. Copy text Y button. That's cool. Let's remove the participant window from here. You'll be able to get the better idea. Now, so here I'm gonna open the chat box as well. If you're gonna face any doubt, just you can simply drop your queries into the chat box. And now here, what I have to do? So let's create live this web page on top of any Firefox. So let me do the same thing. Let's click on go live. Okay, you would be able to see your web page on top of your browser. Let's take a while. Okay, and now you are able to see your web page on top of your browser. So this is a text what you have written, copy text Y the button, right? That's cool. Now the point is just I have to add the more functionality into this web page, right? So let me add the more functionality as well. So what I'm gonna do here, so just you can simply create a one input tag. Okay, I'm gonna put the one input button. Okay, inside the input I want to take a user text. So just you can simply method of this particular input, you can simply mention the text here. Okay, you can simply define the name of this file as let's suppose username. If you want to define what will be the ID should be unique. Okay, then you can simply use a username as well. It's your choice, or either you can simply use a my input, whatever you can simply use it. Now the point is, this is what you have done, my input and all these things. Okay, if you want to initialize a one default value for this field, you can also do this thing. So now I'm going to add a one more button as well here. So let me add a one button. Okay, inside the button, so the button should be can copy, or either instead of this button, just you can also insert a image, right? Just if you are able to see the earlier website, there was a one image of the two squares. You can also insert an image. When you're going to click on top of the image, you will be able to copy the text as well, right? So this is the one button I have insert here. Let me add a one break. This is you are able to see. Now that's cool. If you're gonna click on this copy button, okay, whatever text you're gonna write inside this, that particular text should be copied automatically. So now the point, just I have to add a one JavaScript event inside the button. Okay, and which event I'm gonna use here? So I'm gonna use a on click event. Okay, on top of button, obviously I'm gonna use a on click event. And now just you have to execute a function behind the scene as well, right? Now when I'm gonna click on the copy button, this particular function should be execute. Just you have to declare a one function. So let me choose any function name. Let's suppose I'm gonna choose a my fun. Okay, so when a user will click on a copy button, so this particular function will be execute, and now this function you have to define inside the JavaScript, right? So let me execute the same thing. This is what we have done. Now the next point, let's suppose you have to write your JavaScript code right now. Okay, now I'm going to write my JavaScript code here. So to write your JavaScript code, you know very well, just inside the body tag, you have to mention the script one, right? This is what you can simply add your JavaScript code here. So now the first of all, I'm going to declare my function. The function name should be earlier what you have already defined. I'm going to choose a my func here. And inside this, either you can also pass some number of parameters, but I don't want any parameters here. Just let it be for right now. I'm going to create the body of my function. Now, the first of all, what you want to copy, guys, right? Just you have to understand the concept. So if you want to copy the text, whatever a user will type inside this particular, right? So you have to understand how you can fetch that particular text. Okay. So if a user wants to copy this particular line, you can also copy this line using this button as well, right? But first of all, when a user will click on this function or an event, so this function will execute and this particular function will fetch the data, whatever user will write inside this box. So let's suppose this is a one ID. If you are able to see, okay, now this is a unique ID you have to use inside your HTML text. So now just you can fetch the data using the from the DOM using the ID. So I'm gonna use the same method document. Okay, from the document I'm gonna use a one method name as get element by ID. Either you can use any one of them, right? Get element by the type, class, tag name, according to your preference. So which ID I'm gonna fetch? So I want to fetch the my input. This is the one ID I have mentioned there. That's cool, no issue. Now when you will fetch the element from there, just you have to store somewhere. Just you can simply declare any variable. Let I'm gonna declare the variable, let's suppose text. Okay, this is a variable I have declared name as text, and inside the text just this is a one fetch element I have stored. Now if you want to copy the text or if you want to select the text from there, just you can simply use a one thing, because if you when you're gonna click on copy, so whatever text you want to copy, so that particular text should be select automatically as well. Okay, how you can simply select? So you can simply use a one inbuilt method named select. Okay, if you want to use, so just you can also use the select method, and now it will select those number of words what do you want to select from there. So I'm gonna use a one more inbuilt method, and now that will be a set selection range, right? So this is a one more method you can simply use set, okay, selection, and the should be the specifying capital letters. Okay, all these things are in case sensitive, guys. And now this is a one more HTML input element. Okay, what element I'm trying to use? Set selection range. Just inside the range you can define the start number and the end number as well. Okay, you can also define the direction forward and backward. It's your choice if you want to select from backward to forward. So right now I'm gonna mention I want to select from 0 to 3 characters. If you want to select only 3, if you want to select only 5, it's your choice. What do you want to do here, right? So if I'm gonna specify a range of 0 to 4, that's cool, no issue. This is what we have done. Let me initialize one more thing here. Now what you have to do? So you have to copy that particular text inside the clipboard, okay? So when a user will click on the copy button, so that particular text should be copied inside the clipboard. So just you have to execute a one more command. Okay, which command you have to execute? So inside the same DOM element, okay, you would be able to execute a command. So this is a one method you can simply use, exec command. Okay, so just you can execute the command, and which command you have to execute? The copy command. So the copy command is copy the text, and now that particular text will be stored in your clipboard. You can paste where you want. And now this is what we have done. Okay, and now either you can also add a one alert message for the user. When you're gonna copy on this button, the text has been copied, right? You can simply draw a alert here, or either you can also put a little bit text there. Okay, when a user will click on this button, so the user will get a text there. So yeah, text has been copied. Okay, that's your choice. If I'm gonna save this, just let it be. Let's suppose this page is live already, so I'm gonna put the Sachin or the skill center. Okay, this is the one text I have written. Just I'm gonna click on copy. Okay, what happened? Let me check. Let's suppose I want to check what happens. So let me open the terminal. I'm gonna paste there, or either I can also paste. So let me paste, Control Shift V. Just look at this. So there are 4 number of characters has been already copied, and the characters are SKIL, right? Why it will copy the only 4 characters? Because we have used a range 0 to 4. What does it mean? So it will select the range from 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it will only copy the characters from 0 to 4. That's why it will only copy these characters. Okay, so now the point, if you want to just look at this, it will also select those characters as well, right? If you want to increase the range here, just if you're gonna use the same range, I'm gonna click on copy again. Just look at this. If you are able to see, the skill is already selected because I have used this function as well. Okay, if you will not use the select function, so it will not select those characters, because first of all you have to select, and after that you are executing a one command to copy these, right? Now the one more point, let's suppose if you want to increase the range, you can also increase the range at infinite as well. Drop a line. Okay, now that's fine. So whatever text you're gonna write inside this skill center is it educational academy. Okay, this is the one thing I have right. And now just I'm gonna click on copy. Okay, and all the text has been selected and copied automatically using the JavaScript event. If you want to paste, so let me paste here. Just look at this. Skill Center is an education academy. Okay, this is the one thing you can simply do using this method. Or either you can also notify using the alert. Okay, you can also do this thing as well. Alert. Inside the alert, just you can simply print a one message, copy text. Okay, this is the one thing you can simply do. Plus, and you have to put the values there. Just you can simply use the same text, and just you have to fetch the values from there. This is, oops, this is what you have to do. Not value, only the value I want. Okay, when a user will click on copy, okay, this particular alert you will also get, this particular text has been copied. Or either you can also add a one event there. So if you want to do that particular thing, just you have to add a little bit CSS as well. Okay, this particular thing as well you can also do. And for this event, just you have to add a one text here, or whatever you can simply use. You can use any name, right? So I have used or label. You can also use a label tag for that as well. Okay, but we didn't learn about the labels inside the HTML right now. So now the point, when you're gonna click on this copy button, you can also put a one extra text here. That particular extra text, instead of alert, that particular text will let you know that text has been copied. Okay, that just you have to insert the text there. Okay, just how you wanna insert the text there. Document dot get element by ID. Okay, just you have to push the label spelling mistake, don't worry, the label too. And what you have to do, you have to change the inner HTML or inner text you want, or what HTML you want to insert there. You want to insert copied success. Okay, this is what you are trying to do. Or either now just say when you're going to click on copy, this particular text has been come at the your side. Okay, either you can simply decrease the size of this one. Okay, there's a multiple method you can do according to your requirement. So that's how you can simply copy the text. So there are some specific formats, guys. How to store the text in a specific format. Okay, which format you are talking about? Let's suppose if you want to store, let's suppose if you want to copy the text, okay, the text will be copied in a default format. Okay, if you want to change the format, just you can also add multiple events there. If there's, you can add the multiple buttons, right? If you want to copy this text into a bold, just you can simply do all these JavaScript events inside your web page. How we dynamically copy the particular selected verse. Okay, so actually if you are talking about this particular selected words, now the point, just to have select, right? I have select this particular success here. Now what, just you have successfully select this button and you want to copy this thing. Okay, just you can simply right click and already you will get the copy button. There's a no need to add the copy, right? If you want to add the copy, just you can select this text. Okay, and now instead of defining these things, just you can simply define the copy execute command here. Okay, when you're gonna click on copy, whatever text you have already select using this method, that particular text will be copied instead of the default text. Okay, that's thing you can simply do using this method. Why we use the copy and execute command? Actually, guys, we have used this copy command. Actually, we have execute the copy command to copy the text what I have select using these methods. Okay, when I'm gonna click on copy, because the whole text has been selected. Once that text has been selected, so it will also copy all the text inside the clipboard. This is our motive for this program, right? If there's a multiple line, then it will also copy the multiple line in a one single line. No, it will copy the multiple line as well. If you have a multiple line, it will depend on a specific range. How much characters you want to select if you want to copy all this. Okay, so it will select all the, because special backward slash n is also a new a specific range, right? So it will also select those range as well. Okay, don't worry about these things. So this is how, just guys, you can simply create or copy your text using these methods. So let me wrap up this program. Okay, and now let's wrap up, let's create a new program using the image manipulations as well, right? Please explain the execute command. Okay, so don't be confused. Let me, actually the point is, let's take one example. When I have select this particular text, right? If you want to copy this text, what you have to do, just you have to right click there and just you have to copy this button. This is how you can copy the actual text, right? If you want to paste, just look at this, you have copied this text and you are able to print as well. Now the point is, just I have created one JavaScript event inside this button. When I'm gonna click on this copy button, okay, so behind the scene it will select my old text, on how much range it will select I have specified. Once it will select all the text, so that particular text should be copied automatically. Then that's why I have used the one execute command method. Okay, this is the one inbuilt method from the document. And now just which command I have to execute. So I have executed copy command. A copy command is copy the text whatever you have already selected. That's why I have used this method, right? So now this is a range of text. How much text you want to select? Okay, just I have already give you the one example for that as well. So let me wrap up this web page from here. Okay, if you're gonna choose a 5 only index, so instead of copying all the lines, only it will select the 5 number of characters there. That is a range you can simply specify into the 0 to triple line. So this is the one thing what we have done. So let me close this web page and let's create a new web page here. To create a new web page, so inside the new one, so what we will discuss, so we'll discuss about the image manipulations. And now in case of image manipulations, we're gonna discuss about the image manipulations. There's a multiple thing you have to understand. Okay, so in case of image manipulations, guys, we will not discuss the HTML and CSS properties. Okay, I'm gonna copy the HTML and CSS code because whatever we're gonna do here. So in case of image manipulation, I'm talking about the slideshow of the images, right? Because the slideshow of the images would be happen using the JavaScript. Whatever, if you're gonna open any website, just either you can open the Amazon, sorry, Prime Video, or either you can simply open the Flipkart as well. Okay, everywhere you'll be able to see the one image slideshow on top of website. Okay, now just look at this. This is the one image you would be able to see here. Now this particular image automatically changed, right, in a few seconds. Just now this is another image has been come here. So this particular type of slideshow of the images you can simply create using the JavaScript. Behind the scene, you have insert all the images, you have manipulate all the images using the CSS. Either along with this, if you're gonna click on this button, you can also change the images, right? So they have add this button as well. And sometime instead of this button, you would be able to see the dot as well, right? In case of Prime Video, if you're gonna open the Prime Video here, so you would be able to see the buttons there. Using the button, just you can change the images as well. So this is the one image slideshow you can simply add in your website. And now using the HTML and CSS, you're gonna add the image slideshow, but using the JavaScript, just you have to add the movement there inside the images. Why these images automatically change? Because behind the scene, just you have executed one time interval function, and that particular function will execute your code again and again using the loop. You are also using the loop there, and that's why your images has been changed automatically. Okay, so let me copy the text first of all. So we will learn about the images HTML. Okay, inside the images HTML, what I'm gonna do here. So first of all, I need a HTML and CSS text. So I'm gonna copy that particular text. So just give me a moment for that. So first of all, enter the boilerplate. And once I'm gonna enter the boilerplate, that's cool. So I will discuss about the slideshow. And now when we will discuss about the slideshow, I have to put the HTML text here. So I have to put the HTML text inside the body. The HTML text is already written. So let me put the HTML text. Just let me copy and paste. Give me a moment for that. Okay, so this is a text what we have written here. Now these are the images what I have used few images as well. So I have to copy these images into the current directory, or either I can also change the images as well, right? But right now I don't have any images into the current directory. So let me copy those images first of all. Once I'm gonna copy those images, so just give me a moment for that. Let me copy the images from this directory, today asterisk jpg format. Let's copy those images inside the current one. Oops. So I have copied the 3 number of images. If you want a one more image, just let me copy the one more. Just give me a moment for that. So I can simply copy the 1046. Let's execute this command again. That's cool. So I have a 4 images. This is the one more image I have. Now let me copy this and paste instead of this image. So this is what we have done. So now I have a 4 images here, right? And now all the 4 images are the different images. What images I have used, let me show you using the Nautilus. Don't be confused. So just I have a 4 images here, and the images side just we have to adjust. But right now I have used a width 100%. Instead of 100%, just you can change the image side, okay? And now if you are able to see, all these images are mostly from the Halloween, right? So these are the 4 images what I'm gonna use here to create in a slideshow. These are the second and the third and the fourth. So and now your HTML file is also exist on top of current directory. So I don't mention any path, okay? Because all the files I have stored into the current directory. And now what I need to do, so just let me go back to the point. This is the one HTML code what I have copied. Using this HTML code, if I'm gonna go live, don't be confused, just I'm gonna click on go live. You would be able to see all the images there, right? So this is the images you are able to see. But right now, without CSS, without JavaScript, all the images are looking in a 100% width along with the caption as well, okay? But I need to manage all these images, right? I have to put all the images on top of a one place. So for that, I'm gonna add the CSS as well. I'm gonna add the CSS inside the head tag. This is the CSS what I'm gonna copy here. So wait for a moment. So I'm gonna put the CSS here. So let me put the CSS here. This is what we have done. Okay, just I have add some keyframe as well. Okay, all these things what we have done. And now when I have added the CSS, just if you are able to see, all the images are vanished, right? Now you are not able to see the images. You have added the 3 dots, either you can add the 4 dot as well according to your requirement. Okay, so now this is what you have done. So because I have added some more properties to hide my images, okay, just that's why you are not able to see your images. The display property is none. Okay, either you can simply comment this particular property. There's a multiple method you can simply do. But if you're gonna uncomment this line, okay, there's some images you are able to see, right? But right now the default property of the image slideshare, I have to use none, right? Because I have to show these images using the JavaScript code, not without a JavaScript. So all the images should be changed automatically in a slideshow method. So I have copied all these text. And now we have to understand the JavaScript one. Okay, we have to create our JavaScript code here to create a slideshow inside your images. So just come to the body tag. Okay, I'm gonna put the script tag. Okay, inside the script, I'm gonna write our JavaScript. So here we have to put our JavaScript code. So first of all, if you want to execute, so what I'm gonna do here, so I'm gonna create a one function here. The function name, just you can simply use any name. So I can simply use a show slides. Okay, so this is the one function I'm trying to execute, create, and now this is a body you have to define of your function here. Now, whenever you will create this function, just you have to execute this function as well. Okay, just you can also execute this function if you want. Okay, just you can simply, how you would be able to execute this function, just normal method, so slides. Okay, and now this is the one method you will execute your function. Now this is what we have done. Now the point is, let's suppose what I need to do. So I'm gonna create the functionalities of my function here. So first of all, you have to understand I'm gonna use some sort of variable as well. Okay, and you will fetch the all elements from there. So what element you have to fetch? So first of all, you have to fetch the element, and what element I'm trying to telling you. So you have to fetch this particular class. Okay, what class you are using here, because using this class, what properties we have defined there, because inside this class we have defined that display is none. If you are able to see, just you have to manipulate this particular thing, okay, according to your conditions. So if you want to fetch that particular property, so you know very well, document dot, okay, get element by the class name, because that was a class. And which class you are talking about? Image slide sphere, slider field. This is a one class we have to fetch. Now when you will get this particular element, just you have to store somewhere. So I'm gonna create a one variable here. So I'm gonna create a one variable. Let, you can simply create a one variable name as slides. Okay, so this is what we have done. So this is what we have done. Just I have create a one variable, okay, let slides, and inside this variable, just I have fetched that particular class elements. Now I have created a dot as well. Okay, using the dot, you can also manipulate your images, because I have not created the right and the left button. You can do according to your requirement. Okay, if you don't want to use a dot method, just let it be. Don't worry about the dot. Just you can simply use a normal methods, right? So if you want to use a dot, you can also mention these properties. If you don't want to use a dot, just let it be, and you can simply define all these things later. So now, right now, we will also using the dot as well. So just you can define the properties of the dots as well. So using the same method, I'm going to fetch that dot element as well. Dot get element by the class name. Okay, and which class I have to fetch? So there's a different class you would be able to see there. The class would actually the dot, because using the dot, you would be able to see the dot there, right? So these are the dots I have to fetch. So I'm going to mention the dot as well. Okay, so these are the two things what we have done. Now the next thing, what I'm gonna do, so I have to change the display element. Okay, this is a one thing. This is one pretty forward simple thing. You have to change this particular element from none to display, or either something else. Would you want to change? Just you have to change this element for one by one. Okay, because inside the class you have defined multiple objects. Inside the image slide fair, you have defined first object, second object, third object, fourth object. So you have to change the value for one object at a one time. When you will change the value for next object, so the previous value should be changed automatically. This type of functionality you have to do. For that, you know very well, guys, just this is a for loop you have to use there, right? So I'm going to use a for loop. So before using a for loop, so I want to declare the one more variable, right? So I'm going to declare one variable here. Let I. This is what we have done. Or either I can simply declare using the var, because this is a one scope variable, because inside the for I'm going to create a one scope as well. So I have created a one variable as I. I'm going to put the for loop here. At the initial value, I have declared the I value should be 0. Okay. The second thing, I have to define a one condition. You know very well the condition I will define, don't worry. After that, just you can simply give the increment or decrement according to your condition. I'm going to put the increment here. This is the one body I have to declare. And now how much time my loop should be executed. So I'm going to define a very basic condition. I should be less than slides, because inside the slides I'm going to put multiple elements, and the slides have a length as well, right? And which will be the length of the slides? How many elements you have stored inside this class? So the length of the slide should be 4, because we have stored the 4 elements there. First, second, third, fourth. And now when you will execute this, because you are starting from 0, okay, so your loop will be execute 0, and the last element will be 3, okay, the 3 less than slides, 1 it will become 4. So until the 4, your loop will be terminated. That's how you can simply use this loop. Okay. Now, yeah, you can also change the properties from display to blocks. There's a multiple method how you're gonna change these methods, right? So now you are trying to execute your loop. Now what I'm gonna do, so from the slides, because I have fetched this element, okay, and now what actually you want to fetch, because inside the slides, if you want to fetch, so don't be confused. Let me show you into the in top of console. No doubts while be clear. If I'm going to show on top of console all the details, just look at this. So what I'm going to do here, so first of all, if I'm going to execute this line, okay, let me copy or execute this line here. Okay, so I have defined a one variable slides, or inside the slide, just look at this. There's a multiple variable on top of 0 index, 1 index, 2 index. Okay, if you are able to see, just look at this. I'm gonna put the slides here. These are the how many indexes you are able to see: 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And now the length is total 4. At first of all, what I want to do, when first time my loop will execute, which element you want to fetch from there. So if you want to fetch the 0 element, so you would be able to see the 0 element this. Okay, and inside the 0 element there's a multiple property. If you are able to see, let me open this property. Okay, this is a division class, right? Fair. And now this is a 0 element, right? Inside the 0 element you have multiple things to change, but instead of changing these things, we have to change the css for that. And to change the css, we have to use the style property of this. Okay, when we're gonna use the style property, this is a css properties, right? I'm gonna click on this. So I'm gonna fetch the style, or inside the style I'm gonna use any one of them. There's a huge number of properties, if you are able to see. So inside the slides I'm gonna use the display property. Okay, and inside the display, just you can put any value what you want according to your requirement. So this is the one thing, if you are able to understand. And now according to the loop, so it will change the values for one by one for each and every element, because you have a 0, 1, 2, 3 indexes. Okay, hopefully got the idea. So let me close the console, or either just select it before right now. So slides, now you have to fetch the index number, right? So first of all, instead of putting the hard-coded index, I'm gonna put the I, because the values of the I according to the loop will be changed automatically. I'm gonna use the style. Okay, from the style I'm gonna put the display. Style spelling style. That's cool. I'm gonna fetch the display property from there. What I want to put, so none. This is what I want to do using the loop. Okay, by one it will put the none there. Okay, this is what I have done. Now this is the one thing what you have done. Let's suppose now once this loop will be executed, no issue. Okay, you'll be able to see the all things are fine. Let me do the next thing here. Let's suppose I'm gonna change the value. Okay, and now what value I want to change. So this is a one thing I have to do here. I'm gonna define a one condition as well. So let's suppose if I'm gonna define a one condition, and you have to do the same thing along with the dot as well, guys. Just you have to create the same thing for the dot. And if you want to do the same thing for the dot, just you have to use the same type of loop. Only the one thing you have to change, what value you have to change. Only the, let me do the same thing here. Let me tell you. So the for loop I'm gonna use the same here. So only the thing I have to change, instead of slide, I'm gonna use the dots. Instead of slides, I'm gonna use a dots. Okay, and now the point is, instead of using this value, because inside the dots, okay, I have to use a different type of functionality, because I have to put the dots there, because once the dot will be execute, so your values, your images will be shown. Okay, this is the one thing. These are the properties you have defined inside the dot. So instead of show, what I'm going to do here, so just look at this value. So I'm going to fetch the value, okay, from the dot. So dots dot, and now you have to fetch the class name here, because using this I'm going to put the class name. What class name I'm talking about, so just you can simply put the value here. You will change the values from the dot again, and just you will put the same class name there. So this is what you are trying to do. Okay, so let me put the class name. Okay, so this is what we have done. What does it mean? Whenever I'm going to execute my loop, so it will initialize that particular property at the same thing. And now the point, actually, from this, what I need to do, I need to replace. Okay, what I need to replace, so I'm going to replace the active, because there is a one property, one image I have to active, and each and every time I have to replace the active by the blank. Okay, this is what we are trying to use in the dot, because when the dot loop will also execute, so it will be able to see. So this is what we are trying to do here. And before this, I have to select the boundaries as well. So for the boundaries, just I can simply define a one condition. Okay, if the slide index, okay, because I have defined inside this, if you are able to, just I have a one loop, right? And now once you will define this loop, so I have to use a one more thing here. Let me define this condition later. Let's create a one more loop. Okay, So this is another loop, guys, we have defined. Let me add the word wrap and with it will be fine. That's done. Let's create a one more thing here. Now what I need to do, let me open the slides. Okay, inside the slide, now there's a one thing I have to do here. So now for that, so I need to create a one more variable. I'm gonna define, I'm gonna explain it well. Don't be confused about this variable. I'm gonna create two variable here. What variable I'm talking about? Let's suppose I'm gonna put any variable name. I'm gonna use a slide index. Okay, so it will let you know about the slide index, or inside this variable I'm gonna put it should be greater than according the slides, okay, and length. This is a one property what I'm trying to using this. Okay, now the point is this is a one variable actually you have to define in it at initial level as well. So I'm going to define this variable because the initial value of this variable I'm going to use is 0. Okay, now I didn't change this value, so but I'm gonna use a one loop for that as well, because I'm gonna define a one condition. If the slide index should be greater than the slide's length, okay, the initial value is 0. Now this condition will be false. Once the condition will true, what it will do for you, just you are trying to define a one condition here. So I'm gonna put the one value, and each and every time when your function will execute, it will also increment inside the slide index. Okay, so this is the one more thing you have to do here. Let me put the same thing, slide index increment, because each and every time when you're gonna execute your function, so the slide index value will be changed. Here it will be 0, it will increment, give the 1 here. That's why you will be able to execute. I'm going to trying to define a one condition as well. Inside the condition I'm going to put the one slide index. Okay, and what I'm trying to do, I'm going to always put the values 1 if the value is greater than the length. So the initial value is again 1, right? This is what I'm trying to do. Now that's done. So for loop, and now just I have to define a one last condition here. Inside the last condition, just I have to put the values. If the inside the slides, okay, I have to put the index. So what index I'm gonna use? So just I can simply use this method, slide index. Just I can simply very basic calculation. I'm gonna put the -1. Call the initial value of the 0 when I'm gonna execute the loop. Now it will become 1, right? So when it will become 1, this particular condition is still false. So now what I'm trying to do, so first of all it will print the 0 index, so I'm going to put the slide index -1. After that, when it will become 2, so it will print the 1 index, and down so on. I have to change the value style. Inside the slide I have to put the display, and display I'm going to put the block. This is what you have to do. So I have put the block here. So what does it mean? So each and every time when you're going to execute your function, so this particular element will name as a block. Okay, and inside the dot as well, you can also fetch the same thing, dots. Inside the dot you can simply use a slide index -1. The only thing you have to change the class name. Okay, and inside the class name actually just you have to concatenate a one string, and the what string is active. Okay, so this is what you have to do. And now we have done, guys, and now this is the one thing what we have done. Now the point, if you want to click on this button, actually I didn't add the event as well, just you have to add the events for the dot as well. Okay, but not to worry, if you want to execute all these things automatically without a user interface, then you have to understand about the timers inside the JavaScript. Okay, and now there's the two type of timer, just you can simply select. Okay, the first one will be the set timeout. Okay, the second one will be the set interval. You can use any one of them. If you want to use a set timeout, okay, so what it will do, so inside the set timeout, actually these are the JavaScript timers. So if you want to execute your function on a specific time of interval, then you have to use these type of things. And now the point is, when you want to execute a set timeout, just which function you want to execute. So let's suppose if you want to execute or show slides, okay, and how much interval you want to put, 1 second, 2 seconds. So just you have to put the time inside the milliseconds here. I'm gonna put the time using the milliseconds. So I want to execute my function in each and every 2 seconds. And now which function you want to execute? Show slides. Okay, so this is a function you want to execute in each and every 2 seconds. And I think I've done some mistakes, so let me check it out, go back to the result. Just give me a moment for that. Okay, And now I have to check some basics things. Okay, I'm trying to change the values of these things, blah blah blah. Where I, okay, the initial value of the I is 0 less than dot's length I plus. Let me go live. Let me open the console. What's happened? Okay, so this is the one thing I have. I'll get the error inside the show slides. So is undefined. Okay, got it. So what does it mean? So this is a one mistake what you have done, guys. Let me check it out. Dot slide index -1 is not defined. Okay. Dot class name. Spelling is correct. Active and block. Okay, just I have to look it into the starting as well. Okay. And now this is execute, guys, and now if you are able to see all the images has been changed, right? So now this is the one thing you have to learn.